friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be me doing my friend here on BookTube, Michaela, her original book tag. I will go ahead and leave her original tag down below as well as the questions and anyone who I might have tagged. Now, she has said in her video you don't have to do this if you are not a slow reader, but if you are, then the more the merrier. I think I'm about like a nice in-between reader. I am a fairly fast reader at times, but other times I just like to take my time. By take my time, I mean read at a moderate pace. But let's just jump right into the questions because there's about like 10 I want to say, and I would like to answer them with my very chatty mouth. The first question is, what is your Goodreads goal for the year? And my goal is actually 65 books. I wanted to bump it up a little, like higher. I wanted to do maybe like 100 or something, since I have been reaching roughly around that like number over the years. However, with the Panini press happening and with life kind of slowing down, I found my reading to slow down as well, just because I've started to take my time with books a little bit more and really just kind of marinate in them. So I kept it at 65, and I think it's been at 65 for a while now. I think I had it at 60 back in 2019. Then I changed my Goodreads goal last year because I had it at 65 and I ended up reaching 100. So I changed it to 100, but I did start off at 65. And now I'm at 65. I'll probably keep it at 65 for the year. I think I'm on track. I might be a book behind, but that is because when I vlog, I tend to take my time with reading. Also didn't help that I had a bit of a... I struggled a little bit, if you guys know. Books weren't in yet when I wanted to read them, and things had to be pushed back. It was an ordeal. Question number 2 is, how many books do you read on average for a year? I want to say about 65. So I didn't Therese here, because I somehow completely misunderstood that question. I average about 4 to 6 books a month. Yeah, about 4 to 6 books a month. I want to say like my perfect average is 5. But I don't know how I completely, like, I even read the question before and I somehow completely misunderstood it. But it's 4 to 6, more accurately is about 5 books a month. Question number 3 is, how long does it typically take you to read books on an average? I want to say about a week, maybe a week and a half. It really depends. Week is probably closer to the accurate time because it does take me a little bit, and there are some days in the week that I don't read. But on the weeks that I do read quite a lot, probably like 3 or 4 days. More accurately, probably 5 days, because I don't do a lot of reading during the weekends because I'm always so busy. So I want to say like max 7 days to like probably 10 days. Minimum is 5 days, which isn't bad at all. Question number 4 is, are you always reading or do you take breaks in between books? It depends. I typically tend to finish books around like nighttime or during my lunch break at work. So I guess in that sense I do take breaks, but I don't take longer than maybe like a few hours or like a day to pick up another book. So I guess you could say I'm always reading, but it could also say that I do also take breaks. So I guess it just depends on your preference. Question number 5 should be no. No surprise to anyone who's been on this channel, or the answer to it anyway. The question is, what book took you the longest to read? And that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Sarah and I buddy read this. It was a good buddy read. I enjoyed it. And by the good buddy read, I mean I enjoyed roasting this book endlessly with Sarah. It was a good book, don't get me wrong. This took me 2 months to read. 2 months. It does not take me that long to read books, with some exceptions, but 2 months for a 600-page book. And we did take quite a few breaks in between because we were both traveling around that time. I think we started it in February, and I think we ended it probably like mid-April. Too long, way too long for a book that I did not enjoy at the end of it. Question number 6 is, do big books particularly intimidate you? And my answer is no. They don't intimidate me. I see them more as a challenge. I do like smaller books because I can breeze through them. And, you know, it doesn't take a lot of brain power, but I like bigger books because I can just really marinate myself in the world and the content that's happening. And I can really just enjoy it and take my time with it. And by take my time, I mean probably take like a week and a half. It also means that I don't have to say goodbye to the characters as quickly as I do if I had to take my time with it. So, I do like big books. They do not scare me at all. Though I do take my time to pick them up sometimes. Like Crescent City took me forever. I bought that thing in March and read it in December. I have Kingdom of Ash. I bought that a couple months ago. Still haven't picked it up yet. So I do take my time actually picking up and beginning the book, but when I read it, I tend to actually kind of breeze right through it. And I was supposed to show a big book I was intimidated by, but one book I was actually intimidated by when I got it was Queen of Air and Darkness. She's a chunky read, but I read this book in 2 days. So if that tells you guys something about how I like reading big books, then there's your answer. Number 7 is which book have you actually read in a day? I'm going to throw it up on the screen, but you can see it on my shelf right here, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was a really easy book to read in a day, you guys. Like, really easy. It's all told in interview format, so there's not a lot of descriptions. You get in the middle of everything. So I read it in a day. And I think the next one after that would probably have to be either The Everlasting Nora, because it's a middle grade novel and, you know, kind of easy to get through, or Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World by Ashley Herring Blake, also another middle grade novel. That one was a little bit more hard-hitting than, well, they were both hard-hitting in their own way, but I think Ivy Aberdeen was a little bit denser than Everlasting Nora. Question 8 is what book genre takes you the longest to read? Fantasy. And y'all are probably thinking, Therese, you read nothing but fantasy most of the time. 1. And 2, you write fantasy. How does it... It's because most fantasies tend to be in series. There are seldom fantasies that are standalones, and even then those are just retellings. So they're not very, like, in-depth of things that I don't know about because I've already, you know, read the original base work. Fantasies continue on with series. So because I'm me and I have separation anxiety with characters, I take my time reading fantasy series specifically because I don't want to say goodbye to the characters just quite yet. So I do take my time and then I forget. So it's one of the... I love reading fantasy, I love writing fantasy series, but it is my longest, the longest genre that takes me to read. The next question is question 9, and that is what's one book you regret reading because there was such a little payoff by the end of it? I'd have to say Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. I actually did enjoy the book. I think I gave it a 3 or 5 stars, but at the end of it, the ending, the payoff of the ending was just so not there. And I felt like it was missing something in terms of the character and how it was gonna continue on, but it just wasn't there for me. And I probably won't be continuing on with the rest of like the DC series unless they create like a Nightwing or a Starfire or a Teen Titans version. But it just wasn't it for me. Like, I liked it, I liked the idea behind it, but the execution and the ending was just very little payoff, and it was just kind of like, what am I supposed to do with this? Nothing. There's nothing I can do with this. The next and last question is question number 10, and that is recommend a book for slow readers just like yourself. Again, I'm not so much a slow reader, but I would recommend any of Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlisted romances. I own 3, but I only have the 2 on because I am planning on reading one of them later. But these books are really good. I think that if you're a slow reader, you'll find something interesting in them. She writes very interesting romance, like adult romances that are different from her historical fictions, I find. They are compelling in their own way, and they're definitely more... They're not as like difficult to start and end, I'd like to say, but they are compelling, and you'll find yourself either wanting to read more of it and continue reading, or wanting to really savor what happens and take your time with the romances that are developing and the overall messages that the books have. Highly recommend her backlisted works. I feel like they don't get enough hype from her main stuff, and they actually end up being really good reads for me. Like, I have never been truly disappointed. Like, I haven't had a 5-star of her backlisted ones, I don't think. They've always been 4, but I've never been disappointed with how the books turned out and how the stories planned out. So I highly recommend it if you are a bit of a slower reader, because maybe you'll find a way to read this super quickly because it's so compelling. Or it'll be so compelling you want to take your time with it and you won't feel guilty having like taken your time reading the book. But that is it for the slow reader book tag. I will go ahead and leave, like I said, the original creator, Michaela, my sweet friend, link down below, as well as the questions. As for people who have not done this tag yet, I don't know. She basically tagged everyone in the group chat, so I am left with very little people options. But if you have not done this tag yet, please let me know in the comments below, because now you are tagged. But until next time, hit like, subscribe, comment, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!